In the late 830s, Aethelwulf became King of Wessex, succeeding his father Egbert. The Viking threat to the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms during Aethelwulf's near 2-decade-long reign was growing ever more sinister, and Aethelwulf would suffer defeats in battle against them, and areas like London and Kent would be ravaged by vicious Viking attacks. Aethelwulf, however, was surrounded by capable and proactive advisors, including a bishop by the name of Swithin, who would later become a saint. Wishing to ensure the Vikings were kept at bay as much as physically possible, Swithin demanded that the king respond to the raids as swiftly as possible. Aethelwulf was described as being a mild-mannered man, and it would seem that warfare went against his natural instincts. He was certainly a man who preferred times of peace where he could perhaps enjoy more leisurely pursuits. For Bishop Swithin and the other advisors to the king, they knew that the Viking threat had to be dealt with forcefully, and they did their best to ensure that the king was kept on his toes by constant and firm reminders of what it took to govern a kingdom. Another man close to Aethelwulf, Ilstan, took it upon himself to not only ensure that the army was kept in good order, as well as making significant financial contributions to the crown. Ilstan was accused of being a greedy man, but his contributions were vital nonetheless. Athelwulf may not have been perfect in terms of his character, but he deserves credit for having advisors around him that could help provide strong resistance against the Vikings. In the late 840s, around the halfway point of Athelwulf's reign, his youngest son Alfred was born, who, on 2 occasions during his childhood, was sent to Rome. On the second occasion, Athelwulf accompanied his son, and on the way back, he would take back to Wessex Judith of Flanders, the daughter of Charles the Bald, the king of West Francia and future Holy Roman Emperor. On his return to Wessex, Athelwulf had found his son Athelbald had gone into rebellion against him, with the assistance of Ilstan and others, and aimed to deprive his father of the crown. However, support for Athelbald was in short supply, and in the end, Wessex was divided into two, with father and son getting a half each. The crisis with his son had demonstrated that Athelwulf was not an overly ruthless man. Athelbald should have been dealt with in a more firm fashion. But what the crisis had also shown was that Athelwulf had a reasonably unified nobility behind him, crucial in this day and age where the wars against the Vikings had only just begun. He was also praised for his treatment of the church, and his general day-to-day governance of his kingdom seems to have been sensible enough. So it was into this world that the young Alfred the Great was born. Things would be tougher during his reign than it had been during his father's, but Athelwulf had certainly set a good example of kingship to not only Alfred, but also to his other 4 sons, who would all become kings themselves. Even if this example was not one that all the sons would wish to follow.